Yes. Yes, Julia.
No, we had covered that. No, I think we are on the next slide.
Or after this competitive advantage.
Yes.
So it should be lecture 5, 6, eh?
Yes.
Okay. So in this lecture 5, 6, we are supposed to cover on DSS and EIS. And I want us to revisit whatever we had covered before to understand where these AI and expert systems, you can see from these levels of management where these particular information systems become relevant, so that we are now talking about DSS and EIS. So you can see it comes on top. Actually, whatever we are looking into is the kind of IS that becomes very important to top level managers, in other terms. So we want to talk about this DSS and EIS. As an extension of, we have also ERP, which is actually enterprise resource planning softwares. So what is DSS? As the name suggests, DSS is a decision support systems. So a DSS is an IS application that provide users with decision-oriented information whenever a decision-making situation arises. So whatever we are looking towards in DSS is unstructured decisions. Remember, going back a little, when we were talking about this diagram, MIS and TPS, we realized that decisions were structured. It was in a formalized manner. There is a way, a specific way guided by the policy of an organization on how you should be able to carry activities at that level when you are using MIS and TPS. And we said the decisions are structured. But you can see, as we talk about DSS, it is being used to inform decisions, but normally supporting unstructured decisions. Because you are trying to forecast the performance of business. You're trying to do prediction. That is why we would talk about data being or information being unstructured. Because necessarily there is no specific way guiding how decisions should be or should be handled when we are talking about in DSS. So it's just guidelines looking on forecasting what might happen in future. That is why we are saying unstructured decisions. So in other words, we are saying decision support gives users access to a variety of data sources, modeling techniques, and stored domain knowledge via a GUI. Because at the end of the day, this DSS is meant to support managers. These managers will be considering data from different data sources. Remember, you are trying to inform on maybe future performance of an organization. So you need to consider data from different data sources. Again, a variety of modeling techniques should be considered. And remember this, top management or CEOs of organizations might not be necessarily experts in a certain field. So normally, data in a DSS is provisioned in a graphical user interface or a dashboard. So whatever managers are always interested is profit and loss. Those are two key aspects. So you realize that in a DSS, we talk about data being provisioned using an interface so that we give just general summary. So decision support system extend the power of IS, considering that it is an IS tailored towards making summaries from the different data sources and providing it in a display. So what kind of support do DSS offer to a decision maker? One, it can help a decision maker or managers in that level to identify problems. So decision-making opportunities can be identified using DSS. There is also identification of possible solutions. Remember I said that with a DSS, most of the time you talk about DSS from the aspect of prediction. It is a support system which allow us to make decisions, which normally are decisions which are unstructured. And normally these are decisions which you do as an estimate or projection from predictions. So when I say identification of possible solutions, we have a variety of solutions from DSS, considering the different data sources. So we predict if this happens, then this, if, like that. Normally you will get a lot of if statements. There is also providing of support to decision maker by making sure decision maker accesses the information needed to solve a problem or make a decision. So when there is a problem, there's possible solutions to many problems that could face an organization. For example, if we change a certain production line, what happens? What could be the projected loss or profits, like that, something like that. So analysis of possible solutions and even simulation of possible solutions. You know, when I talk about simulating, you are trying to project what could be the real scenario if a certain situation happens. That's why I said I've been insisting on prediction. This one area that comes up as a result of simulation. Simulation is one area in computing where you can, for example, I want to simulate an event if there is a disaster, if a disaster could happen, then how will it, or what could be its impact? Then you can use a simulation to be able to simulate the scenario, what could really happen in case this disaster was to take place. Then you can be able to plan your resources. It is just like I saw some organizations carrying out simulated scenarios of possible attack on a building, so that if the attackers coming in the building, how will people react? So I think it was in UN or KU. I think some of the students got injured out of it. So you are just trying to simulate what could happen. How do people respond, so that you can better train or advise that in case there is a disaster, this should have been the case. How should you respond to this? So this DSS again provide simulation of possible solutions and the likelihood of results. So this DSS normally come in, this decision support system come in with tools such as spreadsheets, databases, or what makes a decision support system is actually tools such as Excel, database, and statistical analysis programs such as SAS. You must have seen SAS before from your statistics. It's a statistical package which you normally get in data. Then once you analyze the data, you can be able to forecast or draw insights from those particular data sets. SAS functions similarly to SPSS, but I'm told SAS is more advanced. I don't know, from your statistics, what's the difference between SAS and SPSS? Yes? Anyway, so just check the difference between SAS and the SPSS, both being statistical packages. DSS system focuses on decision making. It focuses on decision-making processes and provide relevant facts relating to decisions easily, quickly, and accurately. And we have agreed that in any case, DSS supplements decision-making. So making it very easy for managers to be able to make decisions quickly and accurately. Considering that you have a model in place, you might have come up with a model based on DSS that can be able to do prediction. So it can easily, quickly, and accurately do projections. So it must also offer interactive access to processing media that can be used creatively and allow users to explore a range of alternatives and provide the information necessary to respond to them. So when I implement a DSS, remember I said DSS considers different data sources or sources of data. So it can be able to utilize those sources of data stored in whatever media. Then those data can be used to be able to draw insights on how we can be able to respond to any given situation. That's what we are trying to say. So remember this, when managers use DSS, the questions that are being answered by a DSS is actually what if, what would happen if. Those ones are the questions that the system tries to achieve. Remember I say it is all about prediction. So prediction questions are what if this happens, what if we vary the production, what if we employ this model, what could be the possible output? So like that, what if we change this process, what happens? What will it impact in terms of output? So managers use DSS to be able to answer what would happen if or what if questions. For example, a manager wants to set a price for a new product. Then he or she can be able to use prediction to be able to forecast or make a probable projection, what would happen or what should be the given price for a particular item. You see? So in that case, a manager will be using DSS to be able to do price prediction for a given product. So the system will have a model combining various factors in that scenario of looking into a price of a product. Then that DSS should be able to combine factors such as product price, cost of materials, advertising costs. When you bring in those three key variables, then those ones are the variables that are used for purposes of prediction or making forecast what could be the probable selling price for this item. So by firing the price of the product in the model, the manager can be able to compare or forecast the results and select a price accordingly. I hope you can see this aspect about the models, just the way you do regression models. You know, I can take that regression model and be able to build into a system to be able to detect or predict things automatically or inform automatically. I'll show you one which takes into consideration variables like those ones. That is taking cost, the material cost, the product price, and advertising, and be able to vary so that you can get the overall price of a product. So very important. So the main purpose of DSS is to help decision maker in decision-making process, as we have agreed. So compared to TPS and MIS, DSS are not structured, as we had said. There is no formalized way, since it is about predicting, since it is about varying the different products or the different variables. So there is no structured or a formalized way of following when you are using a DSS. Because actually it is also considering different data sources. not only transactional data as obtained from the organization or from the other levels of the lower levels. It might even be getting information from outside to be able to support the DSS. So in general, we are saying DSS is ad hoc to mean that it is something dynamic. So it is an ad hoc process, and thereby they need to be flexible and adaptable. So we are saying it is ad hoc, and we are saying it is something which is dynamic or changing. Therefore, it needs to be flexible and adaptable. Now, these are things worth knowing, taking note so that you understand that DSS is not meant to replace decision maker. Yes, it is not meant to replace decision makers or managers. Only we are saying DSS should be able to supplement the decisions of a decision maker. Yes, so the main emphasis of DSS lies in its support function and not automation of decisions. So as I've agreed, it is actually centered towards support and not just being a tool for providing automated decisions. So characteristics of this DSS is that it offers users flexibility, adaptability, and quick response. So we have agreed that it is a tool that is being used to enable decision makers to make quick response in general, or easily make decisions. They operate with little or no assistance from professional programmers. So this is a system that has been designed that it is getting data. Once it has been developed, then managers can be able, or people who are unskilled actually, most of the time, because we are saying that whatever managers, most of the time, they are not skilled professionals. And we are saying that these systems should be used by those managers or CEOs. And most of the time, the systems are pre-configured. So their duty is just to utilize it. So that's why we are saying DSS operate with little or no assistance from professional programmers. DSS provides support for decisions and problems whose solutions cannot be specified in advance. And that's a very important point to take note that it is aiding situations whereby you have no immediate answer. So you can use, you try to query from the DSS to be able to give you a possible solution. Before you can be able to take time to be able to look for a possible solution to an answer, you can use a DSS. It uses sophisticated data analysis and modeling tools, we have agreed. So components of DSS. What is it that makes this system now known as DSS? So one, it has a database, which is a storage. It also has system software, which are actually a collection of data analysis softwares. User interface, which is the graphical user interface, or GUI, where people will now be getting the results. So the main components: database, software system, in interface. This is a diagrammatic representation. So we have TPS, which can be one of the data sources supplying DSS. Remember I said you understand the diagrammatic representation. We start from TPS, MIS, then we move to DSS. So DSS is getting data from TPS. Again, this DSS can get data from external sources. So to form what we say DSS database. Now, using data mining skills, there is a field in computing known as machine learning, ML, machine learning, which deals with aspects about data mining, trying to extract data. And actually, it's more statistical in nature because we are trying to do prediction and classification, which is actually what is the core of data mining, is to do prediction and classification. So out of the data obtained from the DSS database, when we subject prediction and classification, we can be able to give an answer and provision it on a graphical user interface, or what we say GUI, where users can now access who are actually the managers who are utilizing these DSS. I hope you can understand that particular diagram. Now, output from MIS are summary and exemption reports, but for DSS, the information outputs are special reports, decision analysis or response to complex queries. For example, we are talking about being able to predict something. That is why it is not a formalized. Remember, this is not a formalized process. That's why we are saying complex queries. Yes. So it is good to be able to differentiate the kind of outputs in DSS and the kind of outputs in MIS. Now, this reading assignment, you can read so that you can be able to differentiate model-driven DIS. And I say model-driven, it's just like a DIS that has a model in form of a formula, driving it so that it can be able to make decisions. There is also data-driven, considering the data sources. So this is a DSS model in form of considering the different sources of data. There is also web-based DSS, providing online access to databases and information pool, along with data analysis software. There is also group decision support system, which is an interactive computer-based systems to facilitate solution for unstructured problems by decision makers. So you'll read on that. Here we are making comparison between MIS and DSS, which you know. From this stage, you know MIS is planned reporting, but DSS is actually unstructured and by request. So MIS are standard, scheduled, structured, and routinized, but the other one is unstructured, constrained by organizational system. DSS is immediate, friendly, and it is not constrained since it is just an IS for purposes of making projections. So it is not dictated by organizational policies like MIS. Now, the other one is EIS. EIS, or Executive Information System. So it's not far from, remember these are actually, both DSS and EIS are used by top management. So EIS can be understood as a computer-based IS designed specifically for use by top-level company managers, providing internal and external information that they can use as a support of performing their work. So you can see more or less it's same aspects that we talk about in DSS, which we have said it is supporting top management for providing internal and external information that they need for supporting their business processes. So they allow an executive to understand and analyze forces acting in company and in market without moving from his or her own desk. So you can be able to do prediction, what is happening inside and outside, without being able to do maybe collect data from the market. So you can use databases to be able to explore what is happening. So EIS is used by executives in the following: to assess information on current situation and to perform personalized analysis of available data. So you can see it's not different as such from the other one. So this is actually the definition of EIS. But at the end of the day, EIS or DSS provides a dashboard like this to managers. So managers can be able to just monitor profit and losses, how the organization is doing. You can realize the profits are coming down, going up, considering what is inside, what is happening. So remember, most of these managers might be laymen. So they just want to see what is happening. You can even see there's a drawing like a watch. So someone can know that it is diving, going up like that. So considering these dashboards. So that is what DSS or MIS in that regard provide, a dashboard like that, or like that, presented in form of graphs or pie charts, like that. You see, there are different kinds of dashboards that can be provided to managers to be able to see what is happening. Like this one, statistically, you can see it's up, diving, going like that. You can monitor. It requires little or no support in terms of training for you to be able to know. So that is characteristics of EIS, orientation, capacity for communication, time organization, ease of use by people. It is easy to use because usually you don't need training and you don't have time to acquire it. So you don't need like time to go and sit down. And I can believe that these executives don't have time to be trained on this. So once you can see dashboard, the dashboard can easily inform you. So there are other things like office automations and information systems, which are general. Like office automation is on aspects of those IS that are being used by day-to-day activities in an organization to be able to improve workflow and communication among workers. That is what we say office automation of IS. So focus of this system is collection of IS for whoever needs it, such as emails. Those ones are part of IS or office automation tools that we use to be able to improve workflow and communication among workers. So there's something known as expert system. This one has come in because of artificial intelligence. So this expert system is an IS that imitates the way humans think and consider in making a decision. So these ones are information systems which make decisions just considering the knowledge that has been is actually undergoes. These are IS which we normally create, we feed in knowledge or possible solutions. Then out of those ones, they can now be able to learn others and be able to make whatever this system has learned to make decisions. So we normally create a knowledge base in these systems so that they can use that to make decisions. So it is still a field which is still under exploration. So not as such well used, but it is a very growing area, both in IT field. That's why today we are talking about artificial intelligence. It's one of upcoming areas. So there is also ERP, Enterprise Resource Planning Softwares. Sorry. So ERP is set of integrated business applications. Actually, what I can say is ERP are actually modules of departmental modules that have been realized in one system. So that you have modules for the different department, you have modules departmental wise, but have been realized into one system known as Enterprise Resource Planning Software. So it is a set of integrated business applications or modules carrying out common business functions. So they support business through optimizing, maintaining, and tracking business functions. That is why almost all organizations today run towards acquiring ERP. Though not, you can see that considering the cost of acquisition of ERP is very high, but people move towards ERP so that they can be able to track their business processes. The surest way you can now track business process is only using ERP. People cannot steal. For example, you can see quite a number of universities today use ERP systems so that they can be able to track their processes, so that they know exactly what is happening in human resource, what is happening in accounting, what is happening in finance. And if you interfere anything within the ERP, that will be captured within the system. There is no way you can be able to alter. Even when you are going for a leave today, we do it via the ERP. When you're doing requisition, you request through the ERP, so that now organization can be able to track business processes in one unified system known as ERP, making it easy to be able to control the business process. So that's important. So it attempts to integrate all data. ERP will use multiple components of computer software and hardware to achieve integration. So the key ingredient of ERP is a unified database to store data for various system modules. Remember, it considers the different department or departmental wise. So ERP can be in many forms. There is customer relation management or CRM, human resource management, HRM, supply chain management, finance, resource management, manufacturing resource management. You see, it can be in different directions. Same ERP can be modular in the sense that it can be departmental wise. That is maybe accounting, purchases, inventory department, whichever way you want to visualize. I can see you can have these particular diagrams to be able to appreciate how you can view ERP. So it can be viewed as a collection of those systems that we have talked, or we can view as modules of departmental wise within an organization. So in general, ERP delivers a single database containing all data for software modules across an entire company. So people in different departments see the same information and can update it. So you realize that this is one system that we are using across the entire organization. So it can be even easier when we are talking about resource sharing. So ERP system tied together varied processes using data from across the company. So normally ERP is cross-functional and enterprise-wide. Remember I said you can easily share data because it is one system. So that is it. So ERP software combines the data of formerly separate applications. Other than having independent applications working separately, you can bring them together by adopting an ERP. So once you bring an ERP, everything is in one place. So you don't need to worry keeping information in synchronization across multiple systems. So you see, the aspect was before people need to be able, ICT departments were having a responsibility of integrating the different multiple systems in different departments. But now with this ERP, it is able to view the organization as one thing. So information is synchronous, or one thing. It is in one order, and it is viewed as one thing, not as separate or multiple systems. So what makes ERP different from the other IS is it has integrated modules. Remember, I said ERP is actually a combination of different modules. It has a common database. Once update one module, it is able to automatically roll to the other modules. ERP gives a reflection on the performance of a business. You must look at your value chains rather than functions. So that's a very important aspect about ERP, focusing towards value chains rather than functions. Because you need to see what actually makes your organization and be able to integrate that when you are coming up with an ERP. So benefits of ERP is that ERP allow companies to replace complex computer application with single integrated system, as we have agreed. ERP replaces 2 or more independent applications and eliminate the need for external interfaces. Common set of data, help in integrating application, allowing department to talk to each other. Remember, you are using one system, so it's like ease of communication. One and same picture of the entire organization from the different departments. Some of the renowned ERP vendors is SAP, it's one of the leading companies actually in ERP systems. We have also Oracle, that's SAP from Oracle. We have Microsoft Dynamics, and I think there's most of the universities today are actually using Microsoft Dynamics. I don't know the market price at the moment, but the latest I knew was it's around 20 million. That's Microsoft Dynamics. It's the cheap. SAP is very expensive, very, very, very expensive. We have also others like Cybele and many, many, many others. We have also open source ERPs like Odoo and many, many, many others. So the disadvantage of ERP is that it's very difficult to implement and extremely cost and time intensive. And actually, we can say that it needs outside consultants. Remember, these are very complex systems. I remember a university in Kenya here, which wanted to adopt an ERP, and the people who are contracted didn't have enough knowledge in terms of deploying these ERPs. And remember, you are bringing in an ERP considering there is a tailor-made system within the organization, whatever the organization has been using before. And you need to import data, which is already, for example, student marks, financial data, all those records, and be able to reflect it in the new ERP. So once they implemented the ERP, they realized that even the students' marks changed, financial data was corrupted, and this raised a very serious concern. And the university was in a very serious situation. And these guys now, out of that failure to be able to implement the ERP, even the university had to use law enforcement. They were given time. Actually, they were held in a room, and they were told to recover back the data. The university only wants the previous data. They don't want the new ERP anymore. So it was a very difficult situation. That's why I'm saying ERPs are very difficult to implement, and also extremely cost and time intensive. Remember, I said cost of acquisition is very high. So that's the disadvantage of ERP. So you can get those questions. It's good to go through the questions. So unless there is a concern or a question, I think I've ended that slide on lecture 3. Any question? Any question, any concern?